It's Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. I'm at a place called Gare Maritime, or Maritime Train Station, but it's been renovated into like a triplex. So it's got like corporate offices, it's got like shops, like bicycle store. There's a supermarket here we'll pass by soon. And then it's got, I guess, co-working spaces would be part of the corporate offices. And then outside of this complex, there's residential areas. It's not actually in this place, but I think the third thing for this place is like they have a lot of events here. Like last week, they had like a paddleball or pickleball tournament or something, and here they have some wrestling tournament that looks like for younger kids. It's cool. This is like one of the nicer things in Belgium. But my feeling is the Dutch made this. The architecture here looks very Scandinavian or Dutch. It's like something you would see in Denmark or Norway. You know, a lot of wood and everything. And the Dutch kind of follow more the Scandinavian way than they do the French way. You can see here, there's like, see all these like wooden steps. This just reminds me of like offices in Norway or Sweden. You know, especially the Stora brand building. You know, it's a little bit like this. So yeah, we take our daughter here to play. You know, during the week. On the weekends, there's events and it's a bit more noisy. They also have like a restaurant area, which we're approaching. So this area is in Molenbeek and in a sub area called Tour and Taxis. I'm not sure what that means. It must translate to something because I don't think it means like tours and taxis. Maybe it is like used to be a bus stand and a taxi stand. You know, so here you have this Proxy supermarket, and behind me there's UNICEF office and Siemens. And then there's like I said, a second floor here, and a lot of that is like co-working space. I'm not paid enough, that's the problem, to rent a co-working space, plus I would miss my kid and my wife. I would probably just bring them with me and then disturb everybody in the co-working space, you know, since I'm a self-employed freelancer. So it's better to just stay home and save the money and, you know, put the meeting on, you know, put your mute button on when you're sitting in a meeting and play with your kid, you know, you know, and, you know, yeah. Yeah, that's how you do it. So this is the restaurant area. There's a giant Smurf here. Now apparently the Belgians invented the Smurfs. I think the Smurf inventor is from Belgium as well. You know, yeah. And then this is a bicycle shop. I'm gonna check this out after the video. I'm kind of interested in those large bikes where you can put your wife and kid in the front and you paddle on the back, and then they even have two seats behind you, so you can take like your whole family. And they have I don't know if they're electric bikes, like they have some assist, or you have to push them yourself. I have to check it out, but they're like $5,000, you know, 5,000 euros. I'm just really curious. I'll go outside just for a second and see what's out here. There's an outside here, and this is like the food court. We tried last week, but it was just too busy. It got overloaded, and there was, yeah, no service, just too many people. But this is like one of the nice things in Belgium. It's clean. There's no litter, you know, or any of that. I haven't seen too many cigarette butts. I saw some in the crack down here, you know, between the doors, you know, some cigarette butts. But yeah, so there's like a park. We were here last week with our daughter playing, you know, and I'm not sure what's on the other side. It looks like some other shopping center. But this is interesting. And then I'll just swing back around. You can see behind me there's some apartments and everything. And I'll talk about buying an apartment here in Belgium. Those apartments are like 350,000, 400,000 euros for 100 square meters, which is like an exceptional deal, I think. anywhere in the world. I mean, anywhere where you have some modernity. You know, I've been complaining a lot about Belgium, but it is modern. It is a modern European country, and in a capital city, getting an apartment, 100 square meters for 4,000 euros. I mean, that's or for 400,000 euros or 4,000 euros per square meter. I think is a good deal. I mean, it's almost like it's getting that expensive in Poland. You know, just to give you perspective. Um, so, how does it work? I looked into it. I mean, but our hearts are set on going to America. But I'm always just curious, like to buy a place. First of all, a home buying process here is not easy at all. Even if I went in and bought it cash, it would take 6 months to make the deal. And that's not waiting for the apartment to get finished. Those are new and ready to go. You don't have to wait. But so that's one issue. Is like it takes like 4 to 6 months. That's what I was told. It depends on the commune. But here in Brussels 1000, I heard it's taking like 6 months to go through all the administration. Just like the stuff I had to do to get my ID card, which I finally got yesterday. But I'll go back. I'll come back to that later. Well, let's talk about the houses. So then you have to put 10% down. That's not so bad. But the other issue is you have to come up with the taxes yourself. And these are not like small title taxes. Let me just flip the camera here. Yeah, these are not small taxes. So you have to pay between 6 and 21% of the cost of the apartment up front. So if you have never bought a place before and you're young, and it's your first property ever, you'll pay 6%. But if you bought a property anywhere else in the world and have been an experienced home buyer anywhere in the world before, then you're going to pay 21%, and that has to be done up front. So let's say 400,000. So I have to have 40,000 euros up front, 40,000 euros up front, plus 21%. So that would be, let's see, 21% of 400,000. That's 82,000 euros. So you would need 122,000 euros, I think, something like that. 120,000 euros. Let me flip the camera. Yeah, you would need 120,000 euros up front to move into a 400,000 euro apartment. I mean, okay, that's typical in Europe, having 20-25% up front. But that's the tax on, and then you got to finance the 90% that's left. You know, so you've paid, instead of making a down payment of 25%, you've just paid the tax, and then you still, you know, like around 30, you put 31% up front, but you've only owned 10% of it. And then you got to finance what's left, like 90%. So you got to finance like 360,000 euros, which is doable here. I mean, interest rates, that's a good thing about Europe. This is one thing Europe has got an advantage over America. Interest rates are always lower here, especially for mortgages and buying a house. They're like 2.5%, where in America they're like 6-7%. So your payment is like 2,500 euros for every, or no, let me think. Geez, yeah, 2,500 euros for every 1 million financed. So it's going to be a very low payment. You know, if you're paying like 2.5% mortgage, you know, on this, it's going to be like 750, 800 euros a month mortgage payment. Well, I think they do the mortgages here over 25 years instead of 30. So I used to have rough figures in my head, but it actually would be okay, you know. But you don't get to deduct the interest. You don't get to deduct the mortgage interest here like you would in Norway or America or someplace like that. So, I mean, if you're staying here long term and the properties here appreciate like 5 to 10% a year, especially new properties, there's a lot of old garbage here. You don't want to buy that. It's all full of mold and, you know, just like I was talking about in my previous videos, you don't want to buy an old building. They're fun to look at and stuff, unless it's in a real pristine location where you can, and you got some money and time to renovate it. But renovations in the, you know, old buildings in the city center are very highly regulated. And then you see the kids are wrestling back here. So, yeah, I mean, for me, my preference is like always buy new construction, something that's got like proper bathrooms and, they're built for people in wheelchairs. So you get like wider hallways and bigger doors and everything. New is always, I think, better. I mean, the old stuff, it's like, it's nice on the outside, but it's not very comfortable, especially with kids. Narrow halls, and the bathrooms are always like an afterthought. I mean, a lot of this stuff was built, old buildings were built when they had chamber pots. You would crap and piss in a pot and throw it out, all the waste out the window. And, in the morning, that's how that used to be here, before Sir John Crapper invented the flush toilet. So now here's the sales office for the apartments. It's called Park Lane, if you're interested and you guys want to. But yeah, this place, this place is nice. This is one of the nice things you can find in Brussels here. It's by the Millennium Park. I don't know. It's an area called Tour and Taxis. I'll put a pin on the map. On the Google or on the YouTube comments. And you can then find this place if you're visiting. But it's just a nice place to chill out. And they even got some vacant offices here, or places if you have any ideas. And I'll flip the camera. And this is a Accenture. Accenture is here. So, yeah, buying an apartment, if you plan to stay here long in Brussels and you're coming with your own money, if you're coming with your own money, it's probably a good idea just to buy the place, I guess, and live 6 months in the building we're living in and get through it if you have a plan to be here more than 3 years. I'm not sure when they charge short and long-term capital gains, but I know that capital gains in Belgium is really relaxed. It's they're not after your stock and real estate gains here. They're after your salary. So if you can get into a place and you have a 3-year plan to be here, I would recommend it to buy a place. I mean, yes, you could probably leave that 120 grand in the stock market. It's going to be the next couple of good years for the stock market, I believe. We're already seeing it turn around. But then if you live in that place and you have it and you're making the payments, you're paying it off and gaining 10% a year, on leverage. So if you put down 120,000, it's 400,000, goes 440, and then goes up to 480, 520. So you get your down payment money back. You could potentially double your money in 3 or 4 years. You pay back the loan and not double the overall price, but double what you put into it. Because you got what's called a geared return. You put 120 grand down on a 400,000 place, I mean, it's 390, and then you owe back 390. But you sell it for, let's say, 550 in 3 years, 550,000. Now, we don't know what the euro would be worth. That's another risk. It's euros, not dollars. And Europe's economy is not as dynamic as America or Asia. They're trying, but they're going to just trip over themselves with regulations. So, yeah, you could 540 pay back 390, and you could potentially double the money that you had invested in. Overcome the taxes. Yeah, it could work here, but I would recommend new construction. The old places are not comfortable. It's really hard to get renovation people here. I'm talking to people about it, getting plumbers and electricians and getting them to show up and dealing with all this like French nonsense, and then they have all these holidays and then they go on strike. Everyone here is in a union, and it's worse than in Scandinavia because they're not competent. I mean, in Scandinavia, at least they're competent. These people who are all in unions and go on strikes, and they have good reasons when they go on strikes, and they warn you here, they're always on strike, even when they're not on strike, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's like our mail service, this Belgian post. It's never in the mailbox. It's always like somewhere in the lobby or on the sidewalk outside. Even when the name and the apartment numbers are clearly marked. And I don't even take mail delivery at home anymore. I have it all delivered to a store called Gatsby, because they'll just drop the pile off there and the Gatsby will sort it and hold it for me. I'll get a notice in the app. But never take your mail at home. And if it's really important, like this ID card and everything that I got, let's get back to this ID card. So I got it. I paid $160 to get it back, to get it expedited. And how did I get them to act on this card? I was supposed to wait till August. I used ChatGPT, and I wrote a letter really explaining I can't even pay my taxes. I can't log in to the bank account easily. It's really a burden. And I had ChatGPT write the letter in French. They told me book an appointment. They sent me a link. I booked the appointment. We did that on Wednesday. Thursday was a holiday. And then yesterday I picked up the card and they gave me a PIN number. And now I have to go to the bank and, because my bank account's registered on my Norwegian passport, show them this ID. And I have to contact this app called ItsMe. It wasn't working. I registered on it with my Norwegian passport, but there was a bug where you have to have Belgian credentials only. It's supposed to work for any European ID to verify your identity. It's like a login key. So I wrote their help desk and sent them a scan of my card that, switch it over to the Belgian card and let's get this thing working so I can log in. So yeah, it took some pushing. And then I took an accountant with me who speaks French. He's also doubling as my translator. And he checked into my wife's situation, which I never would have gotten an answer if I went there as an English speaker. He was able to look in the Foreign Office computer system, which I think he would have done for any French speaker, but not us. But so I brought the French speaker. That cost 60 euros. And he looked into it, and my wife's credentials on the way. The baby doesn't need anything. Baby's under 2 years old. And anyway, she's getting her Norwegian passport. I think it comes in June. We already went, did the pictures, but it'll probably come earlier. Things in Norway, they always under promise and over deliver. In Norway, you always get that experience there. Things happen faster than they tell you. So, but it took a lot of work to do something very simple, just to get into the system. I mean, by next week, I should have all this, go make a visit to the bank and have all this stuff sorted. Now it's like I'm just tying up the loose ends. I'm over the hurdle. But it's hard. I mean, we had to come here because we have to be close to London so my daughter can get her allergy treatments done, which is going very well, by the way. I think, I'd hate to use the C word, but I'm getting the sense that she might even be cured from this. That, we did it early enough that her body understands that the peanut and cashew is not an allergen. Because she hasn't had any reactions to the mediums that we're using. This, peanut candy, it's called Bomba. It's like a peanut puffs. It's like Cheetos. And then cashew milk. It's like almond milk or soy milk, but it's got cashew in it. And we went from 0.5 milliliter. Now she's taking 8 milliliters a day. And in the beginning, she was having more reactions with this 0.5 milliliter. Now she's taken 8 milliliters almost straight, not mixed in food without any problems. So it looks like it's working, but we'll see. I'll tell you more about this in we got 5 more trips. We're only halfway through. But they say when you're halfway through, that's when you're protected. They say the baby is protected. I don't want to get too close to the wrestling tournament because I think they charge money for that stuff like they do all the other events. You can see it's such a interesting place here. It's a very, very interesting place. You go back here and you can see this big hall. And I mean, this they could have a car show here, boat show. Yeah, there's a lot they can do here. It's like a convention center. And they're building a hotel in the building where we're staying. So I think this area of Brussels, actually, this Brussels 1000, despite all the complaining I do, and I'm doing that mostly because I have a kid and I don't want her, picking up cigarette butts and broken glass. It is getting better here, slowly by slowly. Just flip this. Yeah, slowly by slowly, this side of Brussels is improving. Would I live here now? No. I mean, would I invest here? If I didn't have to deal with the Belgian bureaucracy, I would have bought an apartment right away. I was actually, when we were apartment hunting and everything, we were getting so frustrated with it. I was thinking about just taking some money out of my investments and just straight up buying a place, so we didn't have to deal with anything. But when they told me it would still take 6 months, even with a cash deal, yeah, it would still take 6 months, even doing a cash deal to transact the apartment. So anywhere we need a place to stay. But if you're willing, like I said, if you're a single person and you got yourself an IT job here, or you want to do some foreign experience, you worked at like Amazon in the US or Google or someplace, and you got some money saved, some $500,000 saved up, you're around 30 years old, 35 years old or something, you're just looking for a change and you're still single, this is a good place. This is get yourself set up, and work here is probably, it's a little bit harder probably than in Scandinavia, but the weather is better, the food is cheaper, and as long as, if you buy a place and you don't have that monthly nut, the rent payment, and then you rent out the extra bedroom or extra space to a roommate or something, you can be cooking here. You can I mean, the pay is a lot lower, but you'll have time to go to restaurants, and this location is a little bit better in Scandinavia, that you're more central in Europe. You can go to Paris, you can go to London, and get all that out of your system. And then, go to Ukraine, whatever. And then you pack up after 3 years, you got your experience, go back to America and get back on that corporate ladder, find someone in the process or something. So, yeah, it looks like it's an art gallery here. Now, everything in here is written in Dutch, which is cool. And this Dutch word kunst is the same as a Norwegian word for art, kunst. That's also art in Norwegian. So Dutch and Norwegian are quite similar languages. And I'll just show you the supermarket here. Yeah, this is the supermarket. It's called Proxy, and it's Dutch. It's a Dutch chain, and this is the art gallery. And then this is the kind of stuff you would see in Scandinavia. This kind of artwork, just people hanging out in a boat and real stoic and everything. I'm not sure what this is. Looks like another bicycle shop or something here, or bathroom shop. And then this is some place that deals in bicycles, looks like. Yeah. So that's all I got. And we'll see you all next time. You can see I'm much more positive today. I'm trying to show both sides of Brussels, from my perspective. But like I said, if you have small kids, this is not a good city. But if you're alone, then it's okay. It's like I say, you can find work here. You can make some money investing in real estate. It's they're just going to take half your check. So like I said, if you're mid career, 5 to 10 years into your job in America and looking for something different to do, and you by chance know some French, that's helpful. You could be okay here. Anyway, take care. See you. Bye.